Is vulnerability for wimps or for victors? When I was 17, I was participating in something called the Model United Nations, and a group of us were representing the country called Canada at a huge event with thousands of students from all over the world were coming to basically enact the United Nations. And before we went on that trip, the head of our delegation said he was only worried about two people, and I was one of them. And I remember feeling ashamed, but also furious and determined to show him that he had nothing to be worried about. So I recall I was in the environmental committee, and the name of the game was basically 300 students in that particular committee. I had the PAN card for Canada, everybody had for their countries. I was the only one in that committee for Canada. And I had to get the attention of whoever was leading and then walk to the front of the room and ask for amendments to international policies. My PAN card was up all the time. And when I look back and I thought, what was it that stimulated me? How did I do that? Was I sure of the outcome? Absolutely not. My heart was pounding. So many voices were going through my head. Anything could have happened, but I still did it. And I realized today, although I can tell you this, I forgot along the way, that vulnerability has nothing to do with being weak or being a blubbering mess. No, vulnerability is the courage that it takes to do, say something, share something without any guarantee of the outcome. But there's something that's important enough. And when we step into vulnerability, it means that purpose, that desire to connect or to create an impact, to bring someone joy and comfort is more important than our fear of failure, our fear of shame, rejection, and judgment. When we are uncomfortable with vulnerability, it simply means that there's a part of us which is so scared of rejection that it clouds or covers itself in perfectionism. Perfectionism is a cover, it's a facade. And one of the ways in which you know that you are being a perfectionist is if you are numbing your emotions, you don't want to feel. Because those feelings of shame are so painful that anything else is better. And we all have our flavors of numbing the pain. It could be Netflix all the time. It could be sugar. It could be drugs. It could be alcohol. For some people, it's sex. Whatever it is, these are all ways of numbing pain. In fact, some of us are so scared of getting hurt that even when we feel joy, we automatically sabotage it ourselves before somebody else can do so. So we're probably having a good time with family and start thinking, what if they get ill? What if something happens? What if, etc., etc., etc. I am sure you know exactly what I am talking about. So it's very, very important that we step into the understanding of what vulnerability truly is, which is a passage for true connection, which is the birthplace for creativity, because creativity means you're doing something that hasn't been done before. So there was no guarantee that it would work. And if you don't have the courage to step into vulnerability, saying, I will try this and I'll see what goes on, then how would you ever innovate? And this innovation is not only with things like the light bulb, like Thomas Edison, or the telephone, or WhatsApp, or Facebook, or Twitter, or whatever. No. Innovation can be about your life. I speak about life design. So what innovative, creative, juicy design for your life are you going to step into? Because you have the vulnerability, the courage to, one, think of it, two, ask for it. 3, pay the price to live that life of fulfillment, joy, love, and freedom. So vulnerability is definitely for the courageous. I used to pride myself in being a perfectionist. I had no idea that what I was actually saying was I lacked courage. I was walking around the world with an armor of I've got it all covered, instead of really showing up as a human and trusting that whether I had it covered or not, whether I knew the answer or not, whether sometimes I didn't even get it right at all, I would be loved, respected, recognized, and celebrated for me as a person. Those we all have vulnerable moments, because we all have moments in life where we don't know exactly how things are going to play out. The only difference is to what extent have you expanded your system? To what extent have you become capable of navigating those moments with grace and self-compassion? And so the question is not whether you are vulnerable or not. The question is, are you leveraging your vulnerability as a superpower to create deep, meaningful connection, to inspire, to convert, if you happen to be an entrepreneur? Or are you feeling vulnerable and covering it up with as many layers as you can so that no one would find out? And the sad part of it is that even when you operate under the illusion of everything being okay, cracks begin to show at some point in time. The connections that you so craved, and which is why you hid what you thought were your flaws, cannot really occur because there's no one to really connect with. It's a facade. I know this may sound counterintuitive. I'll give you an example. At some point, I was doing a leadership program and I stretched myself and I wrote extremely vulnerable posts that I found uncomfortable sharing because there was still a little bit of shame around them. And what I could not believe is the more vulnerable I got, the more people connected, said me too, acknowledged. And I thought, what in the world is happening? I have been covering up the parts of me that make me human and actually enable me connect with others, those that I wish to inspire. And so I want you to know that if you want to do anything great in this world, then you get to get very masterful at navigating and surfing the waves of vulnerability. And one sure way to do that is to begin to love yourself in such a way that it doesn't matter what is happening. It doesn't matter who may be saying what. It doesn't matter what you may have done or not done. You still love yourself. And because you love yourself so much, you expect others to love you and give you grace and compassion. And the beauty of that kind of self-love is you start giving that grace, that compassion to others. You're no longer in your judgment horse ride. You're no longer Miss Self-Righteous. This is powerful stuff. If you'd love to know more about getting comfortable, being vulnerable, being your true self, stepping into action without any guarantee of results, be it in love, be it with your career, be it with an entrepreneurial endeavor that you absolutely have been dreaming of creating, be it with leaving a particular path and stepping into another, be it with taking 6 months off because that's what you need now. All of these things take vulnerability. There's nothing wrong with showing emotion. It may seem like you'd rather die because it's just so uncomfortable. And at some point, you've been told that you're a baby, or you're too sensitive, or you've been scorned because you showed your heart. But it's not because some people were not able to see you and appreciate you. But the world does not get to see the gem that you are. Remember, do not be a hard rock when you really are a gem. If you'd love to speak about this, send me a message. Let's hop on a call. I would love to support you because it's one of the greatest shifts and lessons I have learned. This is one of the ways of stepping into our feminine, our phenomenal feminine, powerful beyond belief, reconnecting with our hearts so we can start walking to the beat of our own drums, as opposed to everything everybody else wants from us. And this is the way we can truly light up the world, because we are rekindled from within, ready to be seen, ready to connect with others in a way that lights them up, and ready to truly, truly magnify our essence. Love and light, everyone. Take care.